Who is ready for some content today? For about 16 years, I was entrenched in the world of late night pizza parties, helping to prepare the future citizens of this country to change the world, all while being overworked and underpaid. I built a coaching business, y'all, and I decided to leave higher ed because I was sick of this shit and I was sick of working and being underpaid and being told that I need to do more and be more for no more pay. And I want to share with you my story of leaving higher ed and the lessons I learned because my hope is it's going to help some of y'all either leave your job or think differently about the relationship you want to have with your job. Okay, so I heard the term life coach for the first time maybe around 2010, 2011. I was just graduated from my master's program and was in my first big girl job as a hall director. And if you don't know what a hall director is, essentially I live with college students and I am supposed to be their de facto parent to help them with anything from doing their laundry to just making sure they don't get alcohol poisoning or being there when they do get alcohol poisoning. Listen, it runs the gamut. It is a very interesting job. It is never boring, but you live with college students. And so I just want you to let that sit in your spirit about what that might mean. You never have any separation from your work. And so on Sundays, which was my one day that I was like, please don't talk to me. I'm not talking to anybody. I'm not working. I don't care if this building burns down. I don't care. And I started to watch Super Soul Sunday. I was very into it. And she was doing a lot of interviewing of people, thought leaders, life coaches. And I was also fresh out of a divorce marriage situation. And I was just looking for some support on how to heal, how to get through that. And so watching Super Soul Sunday, following the people who were on there, reading tons of blogs and coaches trying to figure out this whole world. And so I decided that I was going to dabble in YouTube videos as well as what is this whole like online life coach business situation is. But I wasn't taking it too seriously. I was just watching. And because I was more focused on the goal of going to get my PhD, which I started in 2013. And if you are someone who is familiar with PhD life, then you know that that is very consuming. But I would continue to read and follow people. And in my late night anxiety that comes from being stuck in the world of higher ed, I was just like, this is not going to work for me. I realized very quickly in my PhD program that it was not what I thought it was, and it was not going to be what I thought it was going to be, which is actually helping people and changing the world. It was not that. And I needed another way to like figure out how to do what I really wanted to do, which was help people figure out who they are, who they wanted to be in the world, and go after that. And now that higher ed wasn't going to be that, I was like, I gotta figure it out. And so I started seeing these people do these things called webinars, and they were free. And I could not believe that people were just on the internet teaching for free. And so I started watching webinar after webinar. And I did sign up for a program here or there, but I was terrified to actually do the things that make me visible, to actually put myself out there and let all of my family and my friends and my classmates know that I wanted to start a business and that I was going to call myself a life coach. Like, what was a life coach? It's more known now, but then people are like, I'm sorry, what? And so the lesson here is you have to do what scares you because it wasn't until I actually put myself out there, like stop hiding behind trying to make a website pretty or doing quotes or, trying to tell people without telling people. It wasn't until I like showed up and was like, listen, I am a coach and I have this to offer that I actually started to sign clients and have traction in my business. I wasn't doing that before because I was so worried about what other people were going to think and what they were going to say and if they were going to support me or not. And what I can tell you on this side of things, your family and friends most likely are not going to get it. Your colleagues, your workmate, your classmates, they're not going to get it. They're going to talk shit. They're going to laugh. I don't say that to completely scare you. I say that to prepare you. They're going to laugh. And guess what? They're only going to laugh for a few minutes. There were people who would talk so much shit about how I would be in Starbucks or just like working. They're like, you're watching those videos again. And now those same people are like, can you tell me how you do what you do? Can you help me? And to me, that is the biggest flex that one can have. So do what scares you. Lesson number two, get feedback and follow the feedback. In 2017, I graduated. Y'all, listen, I graduated from the PhD. I am Dr. Lacey. That's how I introduce myself. I was like, this was the moment I was finally like, okay, I'm going to put myself out there. Like, I started this, right? I told you I started this in 2011. Maybe 2013 is when I bought my first business program. It would not be until 2017 that I had the courage to say, I am a coach. I help you with your dissertation. I understand qualitative research and I can help you. Let's go. And while I was terrified, I am so grateful that there was a part of me that continued to invest in coaching. And that person who coached me at the time, I had a whole different other business, but she was the one who really encouraged me to pursue more of what was in line with my research, which is bringing groups together, helping, and particularly groups of women together, and really helping them to have a safe space where they can talk and they can be, and they can figure things out, and they can have the courage and the support to go after their dreams. And so, she encouraged me to focus on that. But in that process is when I was like, but first, they kind of need to finish their dissertations because you attract the people you are around the most. And at that time, I was around other doctoral students. And I just realized like they need to finish their dissertations first. So let me do that. And then we can get to their dreams and what's going to happen afterwards. But had I not been honest with my coach that my first business idea wasn't working, she wouldn't have been able to help me. She wouldn't have been able to give me feedback. And if I hadn't asked her coaching about getting more confidence to put myself out on Facebook, she wouldn't have been able to help me. And it was really her encouragement and then finally her frustration that she was like, just do it. We're not getting off the phone until you post that got me over my fear, over that hump. And so I would post and people started signing up. But I had to be willing to ask for the feedback and I had to be willing to follow the feedback. And so that is lesson number two of you got to be willing to get the feedback and follow it. And from the summer of 2011 all the way to September 2017, that whole journey, that 6 years, I finally got my first client. Now, let me make a caveat here. It does not take people 6 years to get their first client. I'm just sharing with you the truth of my story. And I'm grateful that that's a part of my story because now I know how to help you. The ones who are deathly afraid, I know how to help you because I was that person. And I now know what I needed to hear, which was people are waiting for you. Now, that could be a whole video, but I just want to say that right here of like, people are waiting for you to show up. They're waiting for someone exactly like you who's going to show up to say it in a way that they need to hear it. And they're going to be looking to you and they're going to be so grateful to you that you showed up, right? I think about clients who tell me all the time they're so grateful, like they didn't know I existed, and I helped them to feel seen and heard in ways they never thought were possible. Had I continued to be scared and not ask for the feedback and follow the feedback, they wouldn't have gotten that. Not from me. Maybe they eventually would have got it from someone else, but no one is like you. No one will say things the way you do. And so, this is my encouragement for you to go out, to continue to put yourself out there. So that's lesson number two. Lesson number three, show up even when it doesn't look like it's working. Okay, so I graduated from my PhD experience 2017. May of 2017, I started my new job as a director of a women's center August 2017. I didn't get my first client until September 2017. And so my thought process was, all right, I'm going to do this job for 5 years. I was going to go in. I was like committing to 5 years. I even said that in my interview. And then I said, at the end of that 5 year period, I'm going to go full time into my business. That was my plan. I was committed to it. And I was like, this will be a safe way for me to build up my money, right? Build up my confidence. I could do both of them. And in 5 years, I'm going to be working for myself full time. And what that did was really put my job into perspective of what I was doing. I always knew that that job was not going to be my long-term goal. And so there would be no point to try to burn myself completely out and show up and do all the things and volunteer for all the things because it wasn't my end game. Now, I'm not saying that I did a shit job or I wasn't showing up or I wasn't doing what they paid me to do. I absolutely was. I'm talking to you, the one who thinks they're supposed to say yes to any time someone is like, you'll be really good for this committee or you'll be really good for this extra project. You need to ask yourself, because if you're going to say yes to that, you're going to have to say no to something. And most likely it's going to be no to your business. It's going to be no to your dreams. Do you want to say no to that? Or would you rather say no to this new shiny opportunity because this is not your long term plan? Where this gets tricky, because it's easy to think right here as we're watching this video, if you're being like, yeah, yeah, I get it, I'll say no. Where it gets tricky is when you're thinking, right? You've been conditioned your whole life to go get a good paying job. And the fact that someone hired you and you're on salary and you have flexibility, that conditioning is going to kick in and you're going to think, in order to prove that an amazing employee, I have to say yes. But you have to be reminded, like you have to keep in the forefront of your mind that you said that your long term goal, which is what I did, was to have a business that you worked in full time. Now, if you're someone who always wants to stay in your job, you do you. You just know which one is more of a priority and continue to be honest about that. But if you are someone who is like, no, I want to be in business full time, friend, then you're going to have to remember that. And so I was saying that to say that even when things were looking like they were not working in my business, I stayed true to that because there is a slump there, 2018, 2019, where I was like, okay, so I'm putting myself out there. I'm on the social media. Where are the clients? And they were coming in, but y'all, it was a trickle. Okay. It was one here, 2 months, 3 months, another one here, 2 months, 3 months, another one there. And I just felt like at this rate, I'm never going to be able to go into business full time. But I still had to show up. And in fact, I had to double down on showing up and showing my face and saying my voice. Like I wouldn't have been able to do this in 2018 and 2019, talking to you right now. But it's because I kept going 2018, 2019, 2020, 21, 2021, right? That the more I got comfortable, the more I showed up, the more people found me, the more people started to sign up. And now it's not a trickle. Okay. And so you have to be willing to show up in your business and go hard in your business, even when it looks like it's not working. Even when at your 9 to 5, people are like, oh my God, it would be great. Come do this, come do that. They're like giving you opportunity after opportunity. You have to be willing to put that into perspective of, no, I'll take one or two of those, but everything else is a no because I'm only here to do this job because I need all of my additional time and energy to go towards this business. I need all of my additional time and energy to go towards showing up and marketing and selling and serving clients. And that is really hard when you see these, what you think is secure and safe money in a job and business looks a bit funny. But that's the thing you're signing up for as a CEO. You're signing up for the ups and downs that comes with business. And you are signing up to make the commitment that no matter what is happening, no matter what it looks like, you're going to keep showing up. You're going to keep trying. You're going to keep trying to figure it out. I got all the way up to January 2020, and I had made the largest investment that I've ever made at that time with a coach. And that experience did not go the way that I thought it was going to go. I thought, like, okay, I'm going to make it was $6,000. And it was, I think, for 2 months of coaching with this person. There was a little bit more behind it, but at that time, I had never made such a large investment. And to be really disappointed of I didn't get the strategy I thought I was going to get, or I didn't get the guidance I thought I was going to get. It depleted me, y'all. I was ready to like pack up and be gone. But then I had this thought of like, listen, you got, because at this point I would have had like 2 to 2.5 more years. You got to figure this out by any means necessary. It's only at that end of that 5 year mark that you can give up. And so I just doubled down on showing up on social media, doing more live videos, hosting more webinars, making direct invitations to work with me. By June 2020, I was drowning in clients so much that I had to cut off my link. And listen, y'all, I thought I cut the link off and people were still trying to find their way to sign up. But that wouldn't have happened had I given up in January or February. That wouldn't have happened had I been like, yep, this doesn't work. Let me go double down on my job. You have to show up even when it feels like it's not working. And what I thought was going to take me 5 years to do, leave my job, it took me 3 years to do. In 3 years, I made $100,000 and I left my job and I've been working in my business full time since then. It's been 2 years. I have no plans of going back. Higher ed can't get me back. And in fact, it has made me more indignant and more emboldened to be like, everybody else needs to leave it too. And so that is what I do. I help you. I help folks first get them some fuck you money, replace their salary, and then leave if they want to pursue business full time. Listen, my whole thing isn't about doubling down on you leaving your job. I do think it would take, less stress and energy away, like negative energy. But if you absolutely love your job and you don't see yourself leaving, I'm not here to say leave it. What I am saying is, I want you to experience life with options. I want you to know that when you go to work, that if some shit is going left and you don't like it, you can leave because you're not beholden to a job. You don't have to work there. You choose to work there. That is a difference. It's a different energy. You move different. You show up differently. And so I really want people to experience that because that last 6 months really of working, because I could have left, but I stayed until the end of the year because I was being nice. But those last 6 months, y'all couldn't tell me nothing. I was just sitting at work like, yeah, well, I don't have to deal with this because I didn't. And even now, working for myself, even though there's still moments that are hard, there's still moments where I'm like, no, why did I do this again? It still does not, it is still not as bad or worse than um when I was in higher ed being like, this shit sucks. I love working with students. I love the people I worked with. I did not like the system of it. I did not like how it was disguised as we're helping students build their future when it's really about money, because all things come back to money. So that is my story, along with some lessons. And I hope that, gave you the pep that you need. If you are interested in working further with me, check the links in the description box. But I'm going to see you in the next video.